else has to.
Yeah.
Okay, we're live.
All right. I'd like to go in here. Allow sorts. I'd like to call to order the October 17th, 2024 Columbia Borough Council Budget Workshop. Could I have a roll call, please?
Council President Z.
Here.
Councilperson Kaufman.
Here.
Councilperson Stahl.
Here.
Councilperson Fisher.
Here.
Councilperson Deasy. Councilperson Murphy.
Here.
Councilperson Brevard. Mayor Lewis.
Here.
All right. Would anybody like to offer an invocation? If you'd like, please rise for a moment of silence. Councilperson Murphy, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
Certainly. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Announcement of executive and information sessions, there were none. Additions, deletions, and reorganization of the agenda. I do need to add an item. It is going to be item 8E1, and it is going to be a presentation from the Columbia Borough Fire Department. Is there any other additions, deletions, or reorganization needed? Could I have a motion to approve the amended agenda?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl, to approve the amended agenda. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, I do not have a sign-up sheet, but is there anybody that would like to address council that did not sign up? Or that you did sign up, but I don't have the sheet? All right. Mayor Lewis, Chief Brommer.
Council President,
All right, we're flying through. First item, presentation from Mount Bethel Cemetery.
I think Jane needs a stool.
I'll stand on my tippy toes.
Good evening. First of all, I want to thank you for having us here this evening. Okay. I'm Kevin Kraft. I'm the treasurer of Mount Bethel Cemetery. This is Jane Moore. She's the president of Mount Bethel Cemetery. And we want to thank the council for their past support that you've given us, and we ask that you give us your continued support because it's much appreciated. That being said, I'm going to turn the podium over to Jane and let her do a presentation.
Okay, thank you again. Thank you for allowing me to make this presentation. I can use my teacher voice, Kevin, if I need to. Mount Bethel Cemetery has an active and creative board who are always trying to find funding to help preserve and maintain the this Columbia historical property. I have a brochure that I would like to present to all of you. In this brochure, even the brochure was funded by the Department of the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. So I hope you have an opportunity to read the story that it tells about this historical landmark in Columbia. If you open the brochure, there's a little bit about our history on the inside, also our mission statement on the other side. On the back of it is a story about the burning of the bridge, and on the inside of it is a map where you can find all of the notables, plus we keep finding more notables every day in our brochure, in our cemetery. In fact, today, I just got some very incredible discovery about someone that's buried at Mount Bethel Cemetery. Her name is Catherine Ross Claiborne. She's up in the old brickyard section of it, up near Cherry Street. And it was her father who signed the Declaration of Independence, not her grandfather, who we thought. And her uncles second wife was Elizabeth Grissom, Betsy Ross. So we're always finding good stuff at Mount Bethel Cemetery. I would like you to please feel free to contact me if you would like to have a personal tour of Mount Bethel. And I encourage you to visit our newly updated website, which was created by our newest board member, Jerry Musser. On the back of the brochure, you'll see the mountbethelcemetery.org. And also my phone number is on the back of the brochure that's on there. Our next fundraising event is Wreaths Across America, which we're proud to have over 700 veterans buried at Mount Bethel Cemetery from the Revolutionary War, 16 Revolutionary War veterans up to and including the Vietnam War. And that's on December the 14th. So again, I thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. I thank you for your past donations, and I thank you to consider us for future donations. Does anyone have any questions for me or Kevin this evening?
Jane,
Yes.
maybe you would have- I think it's good information. What does it cost you to mow the grass?
To mow the grass one time.
It's $740 to cut it. And then what we do to keep the cost down, we used to have it cut and trimmed the whole cemetery. It got a little expensive. So what we do now is we cut usually weekly and do half the trimming and then cut the second week and do the second half trimming. And there's times that we do ask them to trim the whole cemetery, especially if we have like our fundraisers at the cemetery, then it costs $90, I think it is then. Total annual, depending on what kind of season that we have, rainy season or dry season, it runs anywhere between $14,000 to $17,000 a year.
And they are very reasonable.
Yeah,
They're very reasonable. They have been cutting the cemetery.
That's not an easy job.
It's not an easy job. And
Not when you look at all the monuments and everything that you have in there.
yes, and
It gets tedious.
yes, and they have come to me, Scotty came to me and said, I feel really bad. I have to do this, but like everything everywhere, their prices are going up. They weed whack around all the monuments. And he said, I used to be able to get a spool of that weed whacking stuff for $25. He said it's gone up to $75. So,
He's only going up probably maybe, what, 40 or 50?
yeah, he's very reasonable,
He's
but
been doing it for us for like 10 years.
yeah,
You're paying $7 to $9 an hour.
exactly.
Yeah, could be. And everybody says about spraying. We used to do that. But then Ron Mabel and Dave Rook went to a seminar down at Laurel Hill. It's called Laurel Hill in Philadelphia. And they found out from the experts that by spraying around stoves, it weakens the foundation. And it did. We were seeing where foundations were tilting and so forth. So we stopped spraying totally because of that reason.
Those monuments, the tall ones, they're there. It's mostly what's keeping them upright is gravity. So if they start to tip, then
We do have a lift where we
yeah, we do. We have.
fix it and so forth. And I might add, if I can, this lady here and her committee, our contributions on a yearly basis are starting to dwindle. Okay, I think some of the older people and so forth, they're limited income and they can't afford to make contributions anymore. So every year, our contributions have been going down. And the contribution from the borough definitely helps. She and her committee pull off a number of fundraisers. And the last one was Fête Noir, and would you have over there about 180?
Yep.
180 people, and that makes some extra income for the cemetery. And they do an excellent job of these fundraisers. And like she said, the next one's going to be Wreaths Across America. We'll probably end up having maybe 75 to 100 people there. Now, we don't charge anything for that, but we ask for goodwill donations. We put a basket out and ask them if they want to make a contribution.
And if you go to our website, you can purchase a wreath for Wreaths Across America. And for every wreath that you purchase for Wreaths Across America at Mount Bethel, we get a donation back. It's on our website.
Any questions?
Any more questions?
Anybody like to volunteer their service?
Thank Thank you.
And we do have a lot of volunteers, that's all it
We
is,
do,
volunteer
yeah.
work. So,
It is.
I want to learn how to do the headstone restoration and stuff.
Well, they do that, Thursdays.
There's-
Yeah.
I'll
It's
wait till I
the,
retire though, so I can do it then.
it's the second Thursday of the month.
Ryan Sexton is our superintendent,
Uh-huh.
he's gone retired. He has a group of veterans that
Oh.
comes in.
Yeah, and they
Okay,
do.
and they went around the cemetery, I think last year and this year.
Mhm.
And I don't know how many, they tried to locate the veterans' graves. And they had this special solution, and they actually scrubbed these stones to bring them back to life. And they did an excellent job. So it's all, like I said, it's all volunteer work, and they're doing a very, very good job for us.
And I have a couple, groups of people that like to come in and help us do research, and I think they've been in twice, and we've already discovered even more veterans than the, I'm
And the
sure we're
county-
over 700.
Every year I apply to the county veterans organization, well, no, the county commissioners at the day, they supply us $3 per veteran's grave. So if we had, I send them a listing of the 686 veterans that we
Mhm.
currently have. And then they send me a check for $3 per grave, and that helps as well.
And they provide the flags too, don't
They
they?
provide the flags and the markers.
So we're doing everything we possibly can with what we have. We appreciate any help you can give us. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not going to sit down because I'm next to them.
Yeah, I know, you're next on the agenda, so you want us to just stay up there and.
Sure. I'm representing the Columbia Veterans Council, United Veterans Council, and I'm here to request the funding that you have been so graciously willing to do for the Columbia Memorial Day Parade. I don't know if many of you know this, but there has been a Memorial Day Parade in this town every Memorial Day weekends since World War II. The only time that we disbanded it was during COVID. I think we had 2 years where we couldn't have the parade. As a result of that, unfortunately, we lost 2 big bands that we had. One was the Westminster Band in Westminster, Maryland, which was the largest band we had in the parade. I contacted them last year when we decided to have the parade, and I said, unfortunately, that's how they make their money, and they had to sign up with some other communities in Maryland, and it happened to be the same time as ours was, so we lost them. I'm going to contact them again this year. Hopefully the community that they're involved in will have a parade at a different time, but I don't know that until we contact them. The others was one of the fight and drum bands out of York. What I am doing this year is our parade used to be 8 divisions. And then what we did, we found that the parade had this wide gap in between the divisions, so we decided to combine them. And we for probably the last 10 years, we had 6 divisions. Last year, we had 4. And it's disheartening to all of us to see that. But we lost some of these people from COVID, and there's nothing we can do. So what I'm going to do this year is, I did, for 2 years, I've offered cash to high school bands. I offered $2,000 for first place, $1,500 for second, $1,000 for third, and $500 for fourth. So we sent letters out to that effect, and I got no response except from Thanks for Catholic. Thanks for Catholic is giving school back, and so unfortunately, they decided they're not going to parade anymore. They don't have a marching band. The other schools do, Donegal and Columbia's always in it. Hennefield, Eastern. So I'm going to, between now and probably February or March, try to make an appointment with each of the music directors in those schools. And I'll say the same thing again. See if we can. We're going to do it early enough so that they can schedule themselves. I'm trying to bring more of these bands in, if we can. Excuse me. And see if that will work. So I'm going to meet with each individual. I'm going to do it first. We did it by letter, and it wasn't successful. So I'm going to try to make an appointment to see the band directors on a personal basis, sit down and go over this with them, see where we can go from there, and try to build this parade back up again. I'd like to see it back up to 6 divisions if we could. But again, COVID killed us. It's happened with a lot of people, but organizations, and big for a lot of people. It's just a shame. I have one guy came into my office 2 days after the parade, and I said, "How did you enjoy the parade?" He goes, "What parade?" And it hurt. But we put a lot of work into this thing. We started this probably in January. We put a lot of work into getting this parade together. When someone says, "What parade?" It's like a knife in your back. And that's what got me thinking, okay, I'm going to see what we can do to bring these other bands in and build this parade up. So I certainly appreciate all the support you've given us in the past, and just ask for your prayers and we can build this thing back up again. Okay, any questions? You're welcome. Thank you.
Who's next? Library. Oh, no, Cat Action Team, I'm sorry. My bad. Crossed off the wrong thing.
Hi, good evening, council. Thanks for the invitation to come speak tonight. I'm Alan Landsman. I'm the chair of Columbia Cat Action Team, which, if anyone doesn't know the history, was a group that was actually founded by you guys 3 years now? Yeah, 3 years ago. It came up in a council meeting that there was an issue. There had been a feral cat issue in the borough for a while, but someone had brought it up. There was some discussion about it. That took place. I saw about it in the newspaper and found it interesting because I had just done some trap neuter and returns for some TMR project in my own neighborhood. I live on the 200 block of North 2nd Street across from Storm Sense. And in front of that store, you see huge, the whole block, like half the block was this big row of arborvitae trees, which was a really nice view. And they cut them down. And there had been like some cat colonies that were displaced and living in the trees. They relocated in my backyard. I wasn't quite sure what to do, so I made a little shelter out of a Tupperware container, some straw that I found online, and then springtime came around, and lo and behold, there were kittens there. Didn't know what to do, did my online research, and found out about something called TNR, which stands for Trap, Neuter, and Return. It's a way that most municipalities in the country and maybe the world are dealing with the feral cat issue. It's basically community cats or feral cats that are on the street, that are unfixed. The goal is to track them, vaccinate them, spay or neuter them, and then we tip I don't, but the shelter that is tips the tip of the left ear off, and then we release them back to where we found them. And the ear is tipped so that way they can be easily identified as a cat that someone has already like taken care of, right? So I heard about the discussion at the borough. I came and spoke and kind of offered my experience and was willing to roll up my sleeves and do what I could. And myself, Sharon, and Todd Burgard, and one other member at our first meeting, we started the Columbia Cat Action Team. About a year into it, we decided to make the decision. I guess it's like the second year. We decided to. We were looking at getting nonprofit status because we're doing some fundraising. And it's an expensive process to get attorneys and get paperwork filed. And, with the little funds we did raise, we didn't think it was like a smart fiduciary move to use all that money to, do a 501c3. So I started talking to some different people in the community, and they're like, Columbia Animal Shelter has almost like an identical mission to what you guys do. So about a year ago, we partnered with the Columbia Animal Shelter. And then I guess a year and a half ago, we partnered with the Columbia Animal Shelter. And at the beginning of this year, I took a seat on the board of directors, which will go through the end of 2026. So now we're officially like the subcommittee of the shelter. We're able to do nonprofit status stuff under their umbrella. And we've had a really good year. So total so far since we started the program, we've touched 354 cats in Columbia. And that is either taking a cat, like I said, putting them through the vaccination and sterilization process and then releasing them, or when it's appropriate, we actually get cats off the street and try to like rehome them. Some cats are born outside, they're feral. There's some cats are like the byproduct of a landlord that doesn't want cats, or a tenant that wasn't responsible and didn't do their homework first. There's like friendly cats that get released too. So when we do touch these cats or come in contact with them, if they're adoptable, we do try to like get them off the street. But a total of 354 cats. We've either sterilized and returned or taken off the street and rehomed. And we've done 70 so far this year. We're on track to do 100 right on the dot. We have 30 appointments left between now and the end of the year. So we have a new scheduler, Liz, that's here tonight, back in the corner, that showed up to support our efforts. And she has taken over the correspondence with the actual community members, the homeowners or the renters or whoever, to prep them, kind of explain what we do and explain to them what they can do to make our outcome more successful. So since she's taken over, which has been a couple months now, we've been adding 1,000. So we filled every appointment that we had, and sometimes actually get too many cats, which is a text to Tammy late in the middle of the night asking her to please take one more. So I feel very optimistic that we'll hit our 100 mark this year, with her kind of driving the ship with that. But we're here tonight to ask for your support. The cost to TNR a cat, and this is just for the vaccines, the food, and what the shelter's actually providing. This is not factoring in like the vet's hours, the tech's hours, or anything like that. This is strictly supplies. It comes to $25 a cat. I believe that we will do 168 cats next year. That's what we're on track to do. So at $25 a cat, that comes to $4,200. We have also entered into a partnership, but Clean Right, that's across the street from Columbia Animal Shelter, has graciously donated this space to us. That's climate controlled, that's secure, that we have a key to, and that's where we're doing all our recovery and housing. The early days of this, it was tricky because a lot of things relied on like an individual person. It's like, if this person flaked out, we didn't have a house or a housing situation. If this person flaked out, we didn't have transportation. And as the program grows, I'm really trying to set it up so that in anyone's absence, it will continue, because I think it's provided like a great service to the borough, and I don't want to see it, in someone's absence, it slow down or come to a halt, right? So we entered in this partnership with Clean Right. We're doing the housing situation over there. So we estimated per cat, we're housing them for 2 days outside of where they're in their shelter for recovery time. $5 per cat for pee pads, which are like the absorbent things we use to catch the air at the bottom of the trap, and for food. So the cost, with the $5 factored in for the food and the supplies and the shelter, there's no man hours factored in, this is just materials. For $30 a cat at 168 cats comes to $5,040. We'd be extremely grateful if the borough was able to help us out with that. We have a pretty robust group of volunteers that show up consistently, that are, day in, day out, like doing what they need to do. Rain, sleet, hail, snow, we're out there trying to make a difference. So we have plenty of volunteers, but we're a little light on funding. So we have done some fundraisers. Julie's woman that's behind me is actually coordinating the majority of our fundraising, and in our account right now, minus what the borough graciously donated to us last year, we have a balance of $1,078.72. So we are doing our own fundraising efforts, but we're here tonight to ask for money. If you guys could help us out with it, we'd be extremely grateful. Definitely open to any questions or comments or feedback that you guys may have.
Last year, we budgeted about 75% more for the shelter fees. And we added 75%. And right now, we're 131% over the budget. So, when I look at these numbers, I'm looking at, we're probably spending somewhere in the neighborhood of $70,000 in this line. There's a problem somewhere. I want to say it's a true problem. There's no question.
people just letting their dogs run around. No, I mean, no, the police are picking up cats and taking them to the thing. They're picking up stray dogs and taking them to the shelter.
So there's a fee associated.
Right.
We're not paying a cat fee.
What do you mean?
The police are calling us usually when there's a cat issue. So I think that probably, not to be at that step out of the term, I think we've kind of absorbed that.
That's expected now. But we don't, at one time, we were paying the charges and come in with the vet bills.
Yeah.
We're not doing it anymore.
No.
Not sure. So the price you're talking about is different than the cat. It's a cat program.
But it's, what you're saying is, this whole thing is.
No. So this is strictly donation to CCAT.
Yeah. Donations, I have no problem with the donations, what I'm saying is, you take the donations, add in what we're budgeting, we're paying. So we're not in control, shelter fees, it's going up.
Okay,
It's
the
gonna be
CCAT
higher
has,
than what I would anticipate. And I'm not saying we should take a look at what Cat Action Team does, but what they do, because I support them. What I'm saying is, there's another issue here somewhere that we need to get into.
The increase may be that we're only 2 years old, so if we're a new item, like having no program to having a program would have spiked it at one time. I don't know if this is, we're asking for the same exact donation that we asked for last year, so it should be consistent.
I think what you're asking for is flat line, okay? I'm not problem. When you add that, plus the escalation of the fees that I'm seeing in my budget, there's an issue, and it's flat, okay? And the others are increasing at probably about 75 to 100% more, so there's something in the property here we need to get a handle on. Or we want to wind up paying more all the time.
Are our fees factored into that line item? There's two separate, okay. Gotcha.
I have a question.
You're great. Thank you, appreciate that. I thought maybe our fees were under that line item, that's where the big increase was, to come from something to nothing, or nothing to something would be. 100%. Gotcha.
Now, what could be happening is something that I have a problem. And the answer is, when we charge fees, and you're reimbursed, the borough is reimbursed, it doesn't come back into the department. This has been a problem with public works, police, and other departments. When fees, what do I mean? I'll give you an example. If there's an accident with a police vehicle, say it's $5,000, right? We pay out $5,000, but when the insurance company reimburses us, it doesn't come back into the police budget. It goes into general fund. It's the same thing with public works.
It's all general fund, and
No, it's not going into the individual budget. You're budgeting by department. It's an encumbrance for the department.
so we should budget for accidents.
No, you should put the money back where it came from.
But the budget doesn't matter.
It does in my budget. It does in his budget.
Only this time of year.
As we go through the year. My maintenance, maintenance and repair of vehicles, I have a number. Right. Okay? If that's paid out, $5,000 is paid out for an accident with a car vehicle, a car, you paid out minus $5,000. When it's reimbursed, it doesn't come back in.
I believe it does.
No, it doesn't. I can't see Chief.
Because that's why, I mean, we see additions into these, into those lines.
Hold on a second, I'm confused. This isn't a checking account. The checking account is general fund. So it's from general fund, and it goes back into general fund. This is just, a plan for us to go throughout the year. This has, once we vote on this, it has absolutely nothing concrete about it. It's just, hey, if electric use at the market house doubles, we need to have that discussion and maybe increase our budget. We don't sit here and say, well, maintenance was 10,000 this year, it was only 8,000 last year, it's still keep it at 10,000.
And we're not looking at it, we're not looking at it saying, oh, you have this, it's not this pot of money that you have to make sure so much of it is maintained and everything.
You're wrong. You're wrong. I understand what you're saying. When you come and I'm looking at increased budget.
Right.
You come, the one we just talked about.
Right.
Okay? We expended 131%
On what? For the house.
of that item. Okay?
Okay.
Now, say we're supposed to be money fees paid back to Borough.
Fines and everything else.
Yep. Okay? That's not coming back here. So you look at this.
There's a revenue line. Yeah, there's a revenue line and an expenditure line. Right.
On in revenue. We need to find out where the revenue source. You're not gonna see it go back in that.
What I'm saying is, if you refuse someone's department performance, you know what you say, you didn't do a very good job on that because you're 131% over the budget. But if you go back into where it belongs, now you look like you did.
Hold on a second. If you took out 5,000 and you put 5,000 back in on your auto insurance, if we look at the budget, we're going to see zero, which means you didn't spend anything that year. So why
It's
did
in
it?
the budget. It's in the budget. You've got a budget and how much are the expenditures.
Right, right. What I'm saying is, if we budget 5,000, you receive a check for 5,000 from the insurance company, we put it back in under the budget, that means the budget's still 5,000.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's zero.
Because, no, it's zero because you didn't put it back in.
So if I put it back in, when we look at this number, we see you still have $5,000 in there. It's telling us you're not using any of it, therefore we don't have to budget it. It's only,
He's talking about expenditures that, for instance, he's using the example of an accident, auto accident.
right,
Right? That's an unexpected expenditure that has to be paid for upfront, which will, they get reimbursed by the insurance company. That was never really an item that was supposed to be in the budget line item anyway. So
Right.
it's an unexpected expenditure, it's gonna get paid back, and it should be going back in that line item.
no,
No, it's gonna go back in the line item 362-100, which is the police department miscellaneous services and refunds.
right.
So it's gonna come out of the expenditure line for,
So there is an actual line.
But it's
for
gonna
it,
show it
Yes.
back in as
But
revenue.
it doesn't show up in the budget performance.
No, it won't.
But it shows up in the overall picture.
it shows up, you have to look at the expenditures and the revenues
Right,
together,
If we're
Not-
seeing,
just one.
if you're seeing 125% increase each year in your budget, that means we're not budgeting enough. And then we have to relook at that and say, we're gonna budget a little more. But this is only to set up our accounts for the year.
You can budget
We
more
don't-
because it'll cause you to budget more because you're not seeing that one goes into that stuff goes into that.
That's fine.
reimbursement account. So it's showed into it.
But what they're saying is, I think, Mayor, is that when we do get that reimbursement, there actually is a line item for that department.
But
that
right,
goes
but it
into.
doesn't go into that line item.
I guess that's up to us then to say, oh, we got reimbursed, we'll reallocate that for that
But
line.
when you start doing the budget, you change your line items and you say, I gotta add money, that's what I was saying. under this
Well,
one.
let's look at it this
I
way.
have to add money.
Hold on a second, let's look at it this way.
I have to add money to that. budget.
Let's say we're gonna rebuild the market house, we're gonna do a RACP grant 5 years ago. And we still, $1.5 million later, haven't received that grant money. It's budgeted, we know that money's coming, but it's still not here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just,
But we have questions for Alan.
Okay.
yeah, I'm sorry.
So we're off the rail here, but we have questions for Alan. I don't want him to have to stand there while we hash this all out.
I'm good.
Yeah, I know, I said you and I have questions for Alan.
So,
Everyone wants a job. The problem is, we're paying more money than what we planned on paying for other services other than what they're doing.
right,
Try to pay for their services, we'd be paying a lot more.
right.
Right.
So, my question for you, Alan, is was when the CCAT program started, there was an estimated, I think, 700, 750 cats, feral cats running around.
Borough's estimate was 1,000.
Yep.
And then the statistics show if, say you do 70%, then you're successful.
I'm not arguing with you. I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. My point was.
Oh, no, those are you guys.
I thought we started with 700 and something.
No, you guys,
We started with 1,000?
yeah, it was 1,000 is what
Okay.
you guys
Because
estimated.
I had 700 in my mind and
700 was
The number
the,
that we needed to do to be
that's
successful.
like the
maybe that's
target.
what it
Because
was.
that's
Yeah.
the seven,
Okay.
70%.
So let's assume that is. And we gave you over the last 2 years $7,000. That's $100 a cat.
Wait, say that again?
If you completed your goal of 700 cats
Right.
at $7,000, that's.
We're saying it's 30 a cat.
No, it's $10 a cat. But we don't have all 700 either.
No,
I messed off. Okay, I'm sorry.
You're all right. But like, as far as, we're halfway to that 700 point, right? So once we hit 700, it's not like we stop, but it's like in a maintenance phase where
I
when
understand.
we first started this, you literally could just take a trap and put food in it and just set it anywhere and come back the next day and there was a cat in it. Like it was that,
I'm well
it's like
aware.
fishing from a stock pond, where now there's like a little bit of strategy and like planning into it. You can see like, it's, thank you. Like the codes calls, Paul, you think they've gone down significantly? You're welcome. We got two emails today and one call. So that's kind of the cadence is, today was busy, but it's usually like, a handful of calls a week. So I think there's definitely a need for it. Yeah, we're happy to continue doing it.
We're just trapping one every other week,
Every other week.
one night every other week.
So we have appointments on the first and third Wednesday of every month, and we trap the preceding Monday and Tuesday. We go out 2 nights, that way we can ensure we get all 7.
You said it's $30 per cat, right?
Yeah, that's the estimate.
Does that include spay and neuter, all that stuff?
It's,
Is that like once all done, cat?
yeah, I mean, that's everything, but it's not billing for, the shelter's donating like their vet and their techs. They're not billing those hours, but the $30 would cover vaccinations, food, supplies,
So
like.
you're not taking them to York or anything like that?
No, we're exclusively using the shelter right now. We do have, we hold that money. So last year, you guys graciously gave us $4,000. We put it into our checking account at the end of each quarter. And that's in our CCAT checking account. At the end of each quarter, we give $1,000 to the shelter. That way, if something ever happens where the shelter loses a vet or that relationship changes, we still have those funds so we can still complete our mission using other providers. Because we have agreements in place right now with Pet Pantry, the York SPCA and the Lancaster SPCA, where we can drop off cats and then they just bill us. But we haven't had to use them because we've partnered up with the shelter. So it's gone through some changes and like fine tuning over the last couple of years, and it's very like a well-oiled machine now, so to speak.
So you're requesting $4,000 or
$5,040. 5040.
All right.
5040. 5040. And that the number, it's $30 a cat and 168 cats is how I come up with that.
Right. So my question is, how many registered colonies do we have now?
Less than cats we've trapped. but we're getting less than cats we've trapped. Not everybody registers.
Well, no, I know. The
But-
whole point of this was not just to reduce the feral population, but to also make sure that people that were feeding were doing it appropriately. So the whole point was to encourage people to register their colony, so we knew that they were doing it correctly.
People are, everyone we meet with and have that contact with, that's on board and we explain the process to, I believe they do it in an appropriate way because they're establishing a regular feeding pattern and then breaking that for us so we can go in, so they're hungry, right? So they're not, these aren't people that are leaving like bowls of food out consistently. Often, sometimes we get that first call, that is what's happening. We're explaining like, this is the proper way to do it. Like, in full transparency, not everybody chooses to register their colony. I think there's a stigma that's slowly going away where there used to be a citation or some kind of punitive thing that happened if you were taking care of feeding feral cats, right? Prior to this,
There still is.
if you're not registered,
If you're not registered, if you haven't registered your colony.
Heather, which makes total sense to you and I, but sometimes the perception is like, I don't want the borough to know because then they'll come get me. And it's like, this is so they don't come get you, but not everybody understands that. So,
Alan, there's 20 currently registered.
okay. So figure average colony size is probably 4. So I would, if I was gonna throw, kind of take a guesstimate, let's say a third of the cats are coming off the street. A third of the cats are registered in colonies, and the other third are hopefully doing it the right way, but haven't done the paperwork yet. Maybe we can, if there's some kind of publication or something where we could maybe do an updated announcement about the citations lift, how you can do it appropriately where you're not going to get cited. I think if we communicate that to people when we're meeting with them and at their home doing our thing, but we'd be happy to help the borough if there's a way to kind of mass communicate or let everybody know there's a change. And I think if they heard it from the borough, it may be more impactful. If the borough's we will not go after you if you register, not the term you're going to use, but
It's definitely something to put in a newsletter when
yeah.
you can get a newsletter going again.
Yeah, if it was coming from you, I think it would maybe people would buy in a little bit more, But yeah, I'm very happy with how it's been going. It's been a long kind of rocky road to get to where we're at, but we got a good thing going right now. I just want to be able to keep it going.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Oh, Public library.
I want to thank you for allowing me to come before you again tonight. This is about the 3rd year that I've been here, and I appreciate that you're always welcoming for us to come and talk about our library. Last year when I stood before you, I told you that the news was the library was having a very good year, and I was happy about that. The news I had to tell you tonight is that 2024 has not been a good year. It's been a great year. And we're very happy, very proud of what we're accomplishing up at 24 South 6th Street. Every month, we hold a mandatory staff meeting with our staff, and we talk and we brainstorm about things at the library that need to be changed, maybe need to be dropped, maybe need to be added, what needs to be tweaked to make it better. And one of the staff ladies, about 4 months ago at the meeting, came up with this statement, and it really stuck in my heart, and I've used it many times since she said it, because I think it about sums up the way I feel in the library. She said, the Columbia Library is one of the beating hearts of our diverse and dynamic little town. And I think that pretty much nails what we're trying to do. And I think we are accomplishing it. And I'm proud of that. 6 years ago, we completed a multi-million-dollar addition and renovation that allowed us to dramatically broaden our offerings of materials, our services, and our programs to the community. Last month at our board meeting, we got talking about the renovation and the addition because we're starting to get to that point, unfortunately, where 6 years into the thing, things are starting to go bad again, and we have to spend money to fix them up. And the board always says, we just built this building. Why do we have to fix it up? And I explained to them that that's going to happen, unfortunately, because we got a lot of people coming through the building and using the building, and that's just going to happen. And I told them that as far as I was concerned, the only mistake we made in that renovation and addition project was that we didn't do enough and we didn't add enough space. And I was curious to see what kind of a response I would get. And nobody in the board objected to that. And most of them agreed with that. So who knows, maybe in a couple of years, we'll be talking about another renovation or addition project. The library, our administrator, Heather Peters-Berry, has this saying that she always tells everyone, a library is more than just books and magazines. And I agree with that 100%. So with that in mind, let me take a minute here and give you a short list, with short being the key word, of the services that we offer to Columbia and the surrounding community. We have 10 public computers that the public can come in and use anytime they want. They are so overwhelmed sometimes that we do have a policy that if we have people standing there waiting to use computers, which happens from time to time, especially in the wintertime, that we have now enacted a 1 hour limit. When you go on the computer, you can be on for 1 hour. When the 1 hour's up, the staff person at the desk can cut the computer off so that you got to get up and leave and someone else can use it. So that's a big thing. We do faxing, we do photocopying, we do lamination. We just started that this year, and that is going over great. We have people, you'd be surprised how many people we have coming in with old pictures, old newspaper articles, whatever that they want to laminate so that they can keep them longer and preserve them. We have a program called Career Links. That's a very active service. People come in, if they don't have a job, they sit down with the counselor. They tell the counselor what their skills are, what they would like to get into, and they help them look for openings at jobs that they might be suited for. If they don't have a resume, they'll even sit with them and type up a resume, make up a resume. If they need it faxed to the company, they'll do that for them. They offer some financial advice, but not a lot. But that's a program that's really being used. We have reading therapy. That's the dogs. Again, kids love to pet dogs, and the dogs seem to love kids. So that's a very good one. We have 2 book clubs. We have a club called Tiny Tales. That's for kids 1 day old to 2 years. We have a Preschool Pals Club. That's for kids age 3 and 4. We have a file now with STEM kits for families to come in and use and do a project together. Homeschool of Lancaster County comes in and with their homeschool kids, and they use the kits to do projects. We also allow those kits to be checked out, just like it was a book. We're always adding on to them. We have a Snapology GPS. I love watching that. It's like a combination of the old Erector sets. I don't even know if they make them anymore. And the Lego kits, bricks, I think they call them. and they use them together, and they make all kinds of cars, trucks, rockets, arms that'll pick stuff up. It's amazing what they do in that class. We expanded our summer program. One of Heather's goals this year was to expand the summer reading programs and make them more so that we could reach out to more people. And she did an excellent job with that. We have now just partnered with Millersville University, and they are offering 3 days a week a digital literacy class. And what they're telling me this is, there's going to be a professor there to teach it, and they are going to have some senior computer tech students there with them to assist them. And they say they're going to be able to teach you anything about a computer you want to know, how to do this, how to do that. They're gearing it, some of it towards senior citizens like myself who only know how to play solitaire on it. They say they can work with us and show us how to do things that we never knew that you could do on a computer. So we'll see how that goes. We're only in a partnership with them for this semester to see how it goes over. But if it goes over, then we'll extend that. The summer program, I have to say one of the good things that came out of the summer programs was we formed a new partnership to get back to the beginning to explain the whole thing. We know what kind of summer we had this year. Very hot, very humid. And we had a lot of our presenters calling us up and saying, look, if we got to be outside in the park, we're just not going to come up and do it because we don't want the animals we got to bring or the items we have to bring outside in that kind of weather. So they said we need an area that's air conditioned. The only area we had at the library that we could go back to was the community room down on the basement floor. That's only coded for 30 people, so that wasn't going to work. So we were trying to figure out what are we going to do, because we're going to lose about half of our summer program if we don't come up with a solution. And we had some presenters that came by the library before their presentation, and they were complaining about parking, lack of parking, because we told them, please don't park in the school parking lot, because every time we do that, we end up hearing about it. So Heather, I don't know how she thought of it. She reached out to Columbia Crossing, and we now have a partnership with Columbia Crossing. I got to tell you, Columbia Crossing saved our summer program. They opened their doors. There was no hesitation. We have presenters now that are saying, look, anytime you want me to come back, I will, as long as we're going there, because they love the scenery, they love the building, they love the parking. So I have to tip my hat to Columbia Crossing, because they really saved the day for us this summer. And in fact, it was they had so much fun with it, we had so much fun with it, that we continued into the fall programs. And I think it was 3 weeks ago, we had 185 people show up for the Lancaster County Park and Recs apple cider making. So thank God we had that place, because it's a lot of people. So it's, again, I have to thank Columbia Crossing. But that was a good thing that came out of the summer being so hot. We participate in Fourth Friday events, and we keep the library on extended hours on those days until 8 p.m. In 2023, when I came here last year and I told you about how we had a good year, we checked out for 12 months, for the whole year, 11,125 items. This year, July 2024, just 7 months into the year, We broke that record and gave out 11,336 items just in 7 months. And as of the end of September of this year, we hit 13,400. So I'm anticipating that until we get to the actual end of the year, we're probably going to be over 15,000 items, which is fantastic when you think about that. Think about how many items you got to be giving out every day to get to 15,000. For reasons that I cannot explain to you, the public is coming back to the libraries. At the last meeting of the Lancaster County Library System, we were all talking about this. It's not just the Columbia Library. For some reason, it's like people just found out about public libraries and they're coming out to see what's going on. I don't know if COVID played a part in that, because there were a couple, almost a year there where the library was closed or shuttered to the point that you could only hand a book in the door and get a book, receive a book out of the door. So I don't know what it is, but at one of the staff meetings, the staff was saying about how they're seeing more and more people from our surrounding communities. And they were suggesting West Hempfield Township we're seeing a lot of people from there, Mountville Borough, Manor Township, Wrightsville Borough. They said that there's one lady that was even coming from Ephrata, coming over to Columbia because she liked the section of the Columbia history books that we have up there. So I got this bright idea. I don't get many of them, but when I do, I like to act on them. I reached out to 3 of our neighbors this year and said, can I come to your borough council meeting or your township supervisors meeting and introduce you to the Columbia Library and let you know that you're having a significant number of people from your municipality come to Columbia, and just to see where that would get us. Of the 3 that I reached out to, 1 never got back to me. 1 got back and said no. And in 2 weeks, I will be going to West Hempfield Township Supervisors meeting and meeting with them, but I've been told that all I can do is introduce myself in the Columbia Library. There can't be any request. So that's where we're at. In 2024, our budget was $271,253. I can tell you right now that we are not going to make that budget. We're trying, and we're going to get close, but we're not going to make it. Our 2025 budget will not be finalized and voted on until the December board meeting. However, we are working on it, and we're estimating that it's going to fall between $280,000 and $285,000. We do know that the 2025 aid from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania will be $79,052. And the 2025 aid from Lancaster County will be $6,750 for a total aid from the Commonwealth and the county of $85,802. Now, being the pessimist that I am, I use the figure of $285,000 as the new budget for 2025. That means that if it hits $285,000, that we will have to make up a difference of $199,198. That's a lot of money to make up. Thank God that we have very generous businesses in this town. There's 3 in particular that donate to us every year. The one for the past 4 years, every summer comes to us and says, how much money do you need for your summer programs? And we tell them a figure and we get the money within a couple of days. So if it wouldn't be for things like that, we'd really be up against the wall. I am very thankful for the aid that the Columbia Council has granted the library over the years. You were a big help during the construction phase. You gave the library, you pledged the library $25,000 over a 5-year period. Last year, you came through again and granted us $15,000. And again, I appreciate all of your past help. And right now, tonight, what I would be asking you is if this council would again in 2025 grant another $15,000 in aid. However, and there's always a however in life. One of the people that I reached out to, I told you, said, no, don't bother to come. That was Mountville Borough. The Mountville Borough Council President spoke to me and said, we have the library aid part of the budget already settled. And he explained to me that they will be giving the money directly to the Mountville Borough Library instead of the Lancaster City Library. And there's an agreement from the Mountville Library that they will use that money only in Mountville and not give any of it to the Lancaster City Library. They're giving their library $20,000 for 2025. So I'm asking you to consider maybe matching Mountville Borough and present your library here in Columbia with $20,000 instead of $15,000. Any questions? By the way, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Steve Sherwood. I've been a member of the Library Board of Directors for 6 years, the last 5 years as president.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Right. Chris. All right, your time.
Thank you.
3 minutes.
Peter.
Okay.
You want a long one, Peter? We'll keep it brief. The Columbia Historic Preservation Society appreciates all the donations the Columbia Borough has given us with the utilities of 2 buildings, insurances, things like that. Covering to make sure everything is temperature controlled inside our buildings is a major feat for us. Keeping our humidity down below 60%. With these 2 old buildings we just found out our parsonage was actually a C. Emlyn urban building. It was one of his first ones he ever designed, which was a pretty amazing. We just found that out about 2 months ago. So we just had Senator Ryan Ahmet do a walk around with us several weeks ago with 2 grant writers from the state, one from the Senate. Seems to be I have a book that he really wants to put back in the Senate, and I'm holding hostage. So if it's worth $500,000 worth of renovation money, I'm going to go after it. So his grant writers are working on that stuff right now for private foundations. So it looks pretty good for our to get these grants. So I'm really pleased with that, especially when the hotel and everything like that coming in. We would like to see the museum get renovated. So. On top of that, I can't ask for a better research team. 15 years as president, sometimes you just want to walk away and just, with the money and trying to keep up with the private donations and stuff. But right now, with our volunteers, we're up over 25 to 30 volunteers right now. And only 1 person lives in Columbia. The rest all come from outside, which is pretty amazing. Our research team, we are digitizing all of this Columbia Spy and the Columbia newspaper. The Columbia Spy is 1830 up to 1920. We're almost completed with that. So you can come down to our museum and actually word search our Columbia Spy online now. We're working with LancasterHistory.org on that whole process. Columbia News is finished finally, so you can come in and research that. We've digitized over 15,000 photos in our system. I'm not sure how our computer can hold all that information, but it's easy access now for all our research. And we get researchers from all across the United States contacting us all the time. Our model railroaders, over in York, as of today, they have the TCA convention. That's the Train Collectors of America. It's one of the biggest one in the country. So my model railroaders have a open house, started last night up until Saturday night. Last night we saw over 150 model railroaders from all over the country, Florida, Michigan. They came in to get something to eat and actually run their trains, stuff like that. So we really have an open door policy at our museum. So we definitely want to keep that going, especially with our Christmas open house, which we usually see around anywhere between 200 to 400 people sometimes every Saturday and Sunday. So we're really pleased with that. So we're really making headway finally down at the museum. But like I said, I have some of the best researchers I can say in the state right now. Now over the dungeons over here, when we raise money for that, we just bought the lighting. They're going to be old lantern style LED system. I have a licensed contractor come in and do that in November, so we'll have all brand new lighting in the dungeons. We raised almost $4,000 for that. And should I talk about Zion Hill Cemetery? What amazing. We had so many bus tours go out there this year. We just I'll be meeting with a gentleman from the county. He's one of the Masons. He actually lives here in Columbia. PA 250 is the 250th anniversary of our country, especially the state of Pennsylvania. They're going to be planting Liberty trees over 67 counties throughout Pennsylvania, and they selected Zion Hill to be the only Liberty tree to be planted in Lancaster County, which I was honored to partake in. So, which is pretty amazing. Also, we'll be doing a seminar. We'll be the main speaker, Celeste Leslie and I, on the Zion Hill Committee. We'll be the main speakers for a big 5-hour Zoom meeting. I'll be able to do about 5 on Saturday, but they want to listen to what we've been doing at Zion Hill. It seems like we're starting a trend throughout all African-American cemeteries throughout the state, which we're proud to do. In this short time, we have made major strides in Zion Hills, knowing there's 257 bodies out there. So every year we have we're buying 20 white crosses every year to plant out there at each one at all GPS locations. So we have all the GPS locations of all the bodies. So every year we want to put 20 metal crosses out there, powder-coated crosses, to honor all these folks. So, which is pretty amazing. But a lot of buses are starting to go out there, and we really don't advertise. They're finding us. So, which is a great thing for our history, especially in Columbia. So, especially the Underground Railroad, we've made major strides in Underground Railroad research in Columbia. Some that's just is groundbreaking through the state. So, I just love what we do. I love this town and what we're doing for this town. We're working with Mount Bethel Cemetery. I have my guy who does digitizing going up to do their records. So they can actually put everything online and do search anything in Bethel Cemetery. So that's about it. Any questions?
So Zion Hill's not separate.
That was a separate, I know you were putting, I think it was $2,500 for Zion Hill every year.
I
It
don't.
wasn't like, you don't put that, you don't have it in there this year?
No, that's what I'm
Okay.
No,
asking.
we do.
You do.
We do. We have, it's in a different section.
It's in a different section. It's a borough property.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we just, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Is it historic?
We-
Are they connected to that or?
Yeah, we manage the money. It's actually given to us, and we put in a separate account for Zion Hill.
Yeah.
So Zion Hill does have a separate account.
$500 for maintenance of parks. and
Yes.
Zion Hill.
So we just planted wildflower seeds the whole perimeter of Zion Hill. So by next spring, we should have a beautiful wildflowers coming up around. So we really want to access the grounds behind there. So I just received a call, and I'm going to work with Steve on this he wants to give the land to Columbia Borough because he doesn't want it anymore. So we don't know what's in the background. So we're excited to grab that grounds from him. Any questions? Is that short enough?
That's good.
All right, thank you.
And now we're at 3E1, which is the fire department.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for inviting me. My name is Mike Zerker.
I'm a trustee, assistant chief, and also the one that lays out the budget. As you know, the fire company now, we have a strong budget. It's amazing how much money it takes to run that fire company. Right now, we're at $500,000 a year. So we rely a lot on the Columbia Borough residents, the clubs, and everything else. Some of the expenses that we have to run with each year, we have $120,000 loan for the apparatus. That got roughly 5 to 6 more years yet to go. Just for liability insurance, $50,000. Fuel, as Jake and Chief Brummer know, fuel has gone up. I don't know how your budget lasted through the fuel, but we are at our limit as of September. So we're going to be over budget on fuel. Some of the other things, the equipment, just the maintenance of the building, $50,000 a year. So it adds up pretty quick. On the fundraising side, it's down. Chicken barbecue, down 20 to 30%. All right. The club, that's down also. And talking is just not our club, all clubs in Columbia. People are not spending money. Our bingo is going strong, I'm not gonna lie. But that crowd is changing. So we do have a lot of challenges out there. We've been doing more and more fundraising. On the fire side, we're very strong. Columbia needs to be proud about that. We have 60 volunteers on the fire side. We average about 10 people a call. That's unusual. That's extremely rare. Most places, 3 to 4. Now, we're not perfect. Once in a while, we might scratch a call, but we're probably about 99% response, which is very strong for volunteer service. We pride ourselves on training. As you know, we're looking for a new ladder truck. That's going to be a $2 million proposition. The reason we need to do this is that the current ladder truck is costing us between $20,000 and $30,000 a year for maintenance. So it adds up quick. We do rely on outside fire departments. As you know, on the Pole Bridge, that was a 3-alarm fire. We had companies from Lancaster City, Gordonville, York County. We actually had Middletown down here. That's our standby company doing this whole thing. So people say we run 700 calls roughly a year. That's about 2 calls a day for volunteer service. They say, well, you go out of town now. That is correct. We support other communities, but you got to remember the other side of that. When we have a major fire in Columbia, they also support us. The ladder truck is a very specialized piece of equipment. We have basically 3 frontline pieces. The fire police, amazing. We got one of the strongest fire polices in the county. Jack will attest to that. We get 3 to 4 fire police per call. And if it's a major incident, 6 to 8. So we are very supportive of Columbia Borough. I know our budget from previous years, from I think we started in 21 with the borough, of $111,000 to cover our insurances and our fuel. We would like to see an increase. We'd like to see about $150,000. I know that's a lot, but we haven't had an increase in 3 years, and it's getting very expensive. We don't want to keep on taxing our volunteer firefighters to help fund the money, but we are also relying on a lot of administrative staff right now that volunteer to run the bingos, run the barbecues, run all our different fundraising. So yes, we allocate a lot of money out for training. One new firefighter
costs about $6,000 to $10,000 to train and gear. As you know, the county is changing the radio system again. After 7 years, they decided they didn't want to listen to York County, and they wanted to stay with phase one. Now they're going to be switching to phase two. So now we're going to have to budget out in less than 2 years. In 2027 is when they want everybody to switch over. So we have to budget out radios. Radios alone, portable is about $2,500. We're not going dual band anymore. They're too expensive. Dual band jumped up to $6,000 a piece. We can get a single band down to $2,500. But then the mobile radios in our apparatus are also $4,000. So we're probably talking between $75,000 and $100,000 to spend just on radios. So yes, we are saving money for a ladder truck because we don't want to be going in debt for $2 million. But we would like a little bit more support from the borough if they can afford it. Any questions? If you have any questions, you can contact me directly. I'll be glad to sit down and show you the complete budget. It's actually eye-shocking.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, that's what you do for the company, for the borough.
All right. All right, well, now we're at 8F, review of Fund 01 General Fund. Do we want to, hash out the contributions now since it's all fresh in everyone's mind, or start at the top and go down?
Well, honestly, I don't even know where to begin.
I'd kind of personally like to see where we're at in the budget before we talk about how much
Okay.
we're allotting. Me personally.
All right.
But unfortunately, this is fairly new for us.
Yes, unfortunately, I'm very sorry.
No, I'm not pointing fingers at anyone.
No, I know
I
you're not. I'm
appreciate-
just saying it.
I appreciate
know.
it this far into it. But, I don't know, 15 minutes we can really discuss. If there's a certain item you want to talk about, I agree with that. I don't have anything off the top of my head right now.
Now, I will say, we did get the number for the property taxes. I'm not quite sure. I thought we would just take the assessment times 0.008. However, the assessment last year was less than what it is this year. And somehow I came up with less in property taxes than what was there last year. So I'm not quite sure how that worked, but, we did get,
I was curious about that because I know what the value of properties are selling. for.
right, well, and the assessment, it went up less than what you would think. It's only about
Yeah.
$10,000. It's only going up about $10,000. I mean, I don't know at this point if maybe they're still backed up on the, when they do the reassessment based on the permits and stuff. I don't know if they're still backed up on that or not. But we're not gonna see a big bump until, in the assessed value, until the reassessment is done. Yeah. The other thing the things that we did not get, at least not that I was aware of, we did not get the estimate for the earned income tax. So I kept that at the same, as well as the LST, I kept that at the same. We usually get those numbers from the county as well. And I didn't see those. I also kept the insurance premiums at the same level because we have not received those yet because Phil is on vacation. So when he comes back, they already have meetings set up with Phil to get the new insurance rates. I had a few things that I did wanna go over. The revenues are pretty much kept everything the same unless I was specifically told to change it. Honestly, the big change is gonna be there's the property tax and then the deed transfer tax. I did lower that a little bit because we're not even close to where we had budgeted. And I think the number of sales is still dropping. So I wanted to keep that lower. We are going to see a change for the EIT and the LST. The property taxes for COS did go up a little bit because remember we approved those 2 pilots this summer for across the street. But otherwise, the revenues are what they are. As far as expenditures, there's a few things that that were requested that I put in here that I would like to discuss. There are some things that I'm still waiting to get the verification on because I know that I don't quite have it right. One of those is, Jack, I'm hoping you can help me. I could not find that when we approved the data increase, I couldn't find that number as I was looking through here quickly. So I need to just get that in. I know it's so much, but I couldn't find it. So I have the new contract price in here that we signed, but I didn't include the increase for data.
I didn't know if you did that. I don't know.
Well, no, I know. I figured that's one of those things that I know, and I sent a list of things that I needed to clarify yet. I sent it to Steve and Karen, and I was gonna tell them that's one of those things that I think you can help us get. Let me see, where is it? The solicitor fees, I did bump that up a little bit. We have not heard yet if we have a new rate or not. And I did lower labor council because we know we don't have a contract that we're negotiating, and we've not been even close to where we're at. So I figured let's lower that a little bit. Engineering, I kept stagnant. This 137 South Front, yeah, it's still on there because we still have it.
I'm really involved in getting that one moved, so.
409-370. Maintenance and repair of building. This is one that I wanted to go over. I put everything that was requested on here, and I would like to go through it to see which of these items we want to include and which ones we do not.
What's that, 409?
409-370.
Okay.
370, yes. Maintenance and repair of building. 2024, we budgeted $25,000. The proposal for 2025 is $205,000. And these are the items. The tower clock, which we all know, the clock. I kind of went in the middle, Wilson. I kind of like went in the middle of the amounts. And that's 75,000.
Oh, we just did that a couple years ago.
No, we did not.
We repaired one side or
Right.
whatever. And we talked
The south face is not working at all.
like 2 times about fixing it, but we never did.
And I thought the whole thing was taken out.
No.
When it's taken down, put it digital.
That's what.
That's what needs to be done.
Yeah.
It wasn't done.
And so, no, it wasn't, and it's gonna be about $75,000. Installing a more simple way to access the tower clock, it's gonna be about $25,000. Gutters and downspouts on,
Can I ask a question?
yep.
If we're going to go digital,
Mhm.
what is the expected maintenance on that?
I don't know.
My only point is,
Yeah.
why spend another 25,000 for easy access?
Right.
I
I don't know.
Right now, the access is extremely difficult.
Right.
There, and it's over top of, Borough. So every time you go up there, you got the server, and it's,
Well, my point is, how often would you have to go up?
well, you really need to do regular maintenance up there, but it's so difficult that, it's hard to do that regular maintenance.
Okay. So,
What kind of regular maintenance are we looking at though, if it's not the existing clock? If it's like a digital,
The structure is.
okay.
yeah.
We are having water infiltration right there as well. So maybe just in repairing it, it's gonna take an estimate to be able to determine that, but maybe it's best to just open that up so we can properly repair it, make sure it's not leaking. But again, until we actually get a specialist out there, we're kind of guesstimating on the actual cost to open that up.
Next one is gutters and downspouts on 308 on the Sadie Lane side. The rainwater overflows the gutters, flows down the building and into the building at the back borough office door at the stairway.
That's still happening?
Yes, it is.
We alleviated that to some extent by replacing the wood panels back there with glass.
The glass.
Right.
We have to get up there regularly, keep re-caulking, because the water's running down and deteriorates the caulk.
Okay.
I was wondering, no, I guess that's not part of what we were talking about doing when we're talking about doing Sadie Lane and that stuff, right?
That was the tide, rain meter or something.
Okay.
One of the problems, we talked about this a couple of years ago. When those window areas were installed in the back doors, side, the big side and the administrative side, they put those used aluminum panels in there. Well, aluminum expands and contracts with the weather. So as Wilson said, having to always recall with that expansion and contraction, you're going to pull that caulk. We had talked here quite a few years ago now about moving those panels and either bricking them up and putting standard windows in and it's over and done with, or something to that effect. Because that, back in the 70s when that was done, those aluminum panels and all that were all the newest grades, but they're not the greatest.
And that was how much?
$20,000.
The reason that's so expensive is because the gutters are installed improperly in the first place. Instead of the full width of the gutter, except for the water, you've only got about 2 inches. So it's more than just replacing the gutters, it's also replacing the facial board and making some repairs to the edge of the roof, which needs to be worked on to keep it from having so much overhang. So it's more than just replacing the gutters.
Yeah.
That's why it's so expensive.
That's fine.
they're the half-round gutters, right? Yeah, because the other part we have to remember is we're in a historic district, so we gotta do like materials as well.
And these 4-inch gutters are 6 inch before. Maybe we should be looking at 6 or 8 inch gutters.
Yep.
I don't know for sure whether that was what the estimate or not, I'm not positive.
But yeah, so there's that.
That could solve having to replace the Facebook.
Uh,
All right, next item is touch up and repair exterior painted brick. The building was painted 6 or 7 years ago, but it requires maintenance. Depending on what needs to be done, we're looking at about $20,000 on that. And then the Market House roof monitor. I think weren't we putting that in the RAC P2, phase 2? Yeah, so I'm gonna take that off there. That's the cupola part at the top that still is leaking, that was never included in the original. So I'll take that off. That's $75,000. Put that here. And then at the Columbia Crossing building. That's not in this line item, so we'll talk about that down there. Or we can say it now. The Columbia Crossing, due to the construction and the materials used in the construction, the wood is begun to deteriorate. The exposed wood needs to be sealed and covered with coil stock, and some masonry needs to be sealed. Sounds like small, but there's some pretty significant repairs that need to be completed down there, and that's about $25,000. I have that on a separate line item though, because I have that for the Columbia Crossing. So that takes the 409,370 down to 135, right? For 130. 130.
The bottom line of both of these buildings, this building and that, they're 2 of our gems.
Yep, I know.
And you can't let them deteriorate.
Right.
No, I think we have for a long time,
Yeah, we have. So,
and I'm glad to see this up there.
yeah, me too. And in fact, last night I was eating dinner over at Griddles, and a citizen came in and asked me, he said, "So, are we making any progress on getting the clock fixed?" Was the gentleman when his wife that lived
Yeah.
across the street that used to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
she, they can't come because she changed her.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, they're pretty much stuck in the apartment now. But yeah, so he asked me about the clock. I said, we're working on it. Doing the budget, it's gonna be in the budget, so.
That, I think that was suggested way back when we had money in our.
Right, but now it's all lost revenue, so, I mean, we move it in, to use, and in fact, the ARPA money has to be used by the end of used by 2025, right? No, has to be committed by 2025.
By the end of this year.
By the end of this year, used by the end of next year.
Correct.
So that's on the list that I have to verify how much we have, because we want to transfer most of it by the end of this year, if not all of it. We need to watch how much we transfer though, how much is in there, because if we go above $750,000 in 1 year, then we have to get a special audit, a single audit. And we don't want to have to do that. So if we have less than 750. The plan was to transfer it all this year. If there's anything left, we will be transferring it next year. But that's one of the things that I have to verify.
So it still could be one project.
It could be one of the ARPA projects, because the other thing is,
Talk about general fund.
right, well, it is. The other part of that is, we did have one of the projects in ARPA, that was that, riverfront stormwater replacement. And now we had that coming from ARPA, but now we're getting that other grant. So we don't have to use our ARPA for it, we're using someone else's ARPA. ARPA. So, yeah. All right, next section, public safety police. The second line item on there, you'll notice, is we don't have an existing line for it. So I just have it marked new until we get a revenue thing, or a expenditure line assigned to it. It was requested that we add a lieutenant at 107,791. This position is not in the current police contract. So I guess my question is, we just did this contract. The contract was just approved starting this year. And if we knew this was coming, why wasn't that put in the contract? Because now we're going to have to go back. If we do this, we have to go back to the union and renegotiate. We're going to have to negotiate the contract.
So first of all, the position is not the union position. So for the outside.
So that they won't be covered by.
Individuals hired from within the department does have civil service protection. So in the event, say, if a decision is made in a way, you have to go back to the last time. Basically, it's a management position. This is important to prepare someone to take over this department eventually, or at least be able to fill in when I am no longer. And we're at a point now where I'm going to retire without a year 6 months. So we're blessed with an opportunity to get someone ready.
So my next question is this, and because I got to ask some questions. So we've been talking about this, and we knew it was coming since you entered the job 2 years ago. And at that time, council was asking for options. We want to know different possibilities. We want to explore what we can do. And to my knowledge, we have not been presented with any alternatives as to what the future for policing looks like in Columbia. And now we're being asked to approve a position for someone to take over as chief, assuming that someone is coming from within, when we have not been given the information that we have been requesting for 2 years as to, we've asked about exploring, is there a possibility of merging with someone else? Is there a possibility of contracting out? Is there a possibility that we can contract our services out to bring it to generate revenue? Is there a possibility of forming a regional with someone that's not already in a regional or that wants to get out of their regional so that we don't have to deal with civil service? you know, we've been saying that for 2 years now and to my knowledge, nothing's been done. So,
It's all been done. But why should
no,
we?
nothing's been
Why
presented
should we present something to you that isn't?
because we're budgeting. We're
How can you
budget the
budget
money.
something that isn't? That's what I'm trying to
That's
say to you.
that's what I'm saying.
We have
Why?
constant contact.
How do
with
we
other
know it isn't?
municipalities and departments and working this stuff through. There's nothing been approved, agreed upon, or anything like that. So how can I present you with something when there is nothing?
We have had discussions
Well,
regarding
Constant.
regional efforts
Mhm.
over the last 10 years, and they go nowhere. Okay, it's been formalized as recent as maybe about 8 years ago, and it went nowhere.
So what you're saying is, when you retire, there is no other option. The only option we have is to hire someone from within to replace you. That's what you're saying right now.
At this point in time.
Chief, could I ask,
Well,
clarifying
one
question?
second. Has any other member of council been involved in the discussions to know that there's no other alternatives?
I've not been in any discussion, everyone's looking at me.
Well, you're the safety lead.
I've not been in any discussions about that, other than I agree that hiring from within is the way to go to replace the chief.
I mean, am I off base here? Did we not ask for that, for alternatives?
So, Chief,
I'm
let me
gonna give you an alternative, if there is no alternative, Heather, that's what I'm trying to
Well,
tell you.
and that's what I'm trying to say is that, you know, no one else, it's not that I don't trust anyone, but no one else has been involved in that conversation.
So, Chief, can I ask you a question? You currently have 4 sergeants.
Yes.
One of those 4, I'm assuming you're going to promote to lieutenant.
Yes.
Do you plan on replacing that one you promote?
Yes. We have a sergeant that actually runs the squad.
That's right. Well, you do a, I don't
I have a couple copies
I don't want to say lead.
of our current organizational chart.
No, why don't we just gonna copy quick,
Would you know
please?
that if a sergeant was promoted to lieutenant, that would you promote a corporal to the sergeant, the place that was taken? Like with all of that, so I guess what I'm wondering is it possible that there would be, we wouldn't have to literally add a staff member?
You're not having this, kid.
Because there would be, yeah, so we
You
would.
still maintain the same Andy.
So we'll still have the same number of staff members.
Well, actually, they requesting 2 additional officers, and that's good. Okay, because we're in a position now where 3 of our senior officers and 1 additional one in November will be earning the job, so we'll have 4 officers. I also received information that I had a 5th officer who's going to enter the job every January. So we prepare at this point in time. It's been quite a challenge to hire new staff for the position of police officer. We have had a couple of processes that have resulted in no hires at all. And we use the consortium testing process as well. So we have an open process, but it's been very challenging.
I recall off the top of my head, just our discussions from previous years, and I believe it was last year, we looked at some numbers, and I believe, Chief, you brought this to us about the average, just different municipalities around us and different regional police forces and the cost that comes to the municipalities that are served. And I just remember that when we really dig into the numbers and the costs per call, when you dissect that all out, that Columbia really does have an economical bang for our buck, so to speak, in terms of what services we receive as a community by our police force, especially compared to the other regional police forces. Many times those services go up in cost when it's a regional organization versus the local from within municipal police force. And so I'm personally not surprised by hearing that those discussions haven't gone anywhere. And I think it'd be helpful for us to look over some of those numbers again, just to have that in front of us. But when you look at the number of the call volume that we have here in this borough, and then look at what we, have to budget for our police services, it's not an easy task to account for. And I don't know if I could dig that up somewhere and reference what I'm remembering, but I think that would be a helpful part to add to this, just to recognize, okay, this is what we are getting for our money as taxpayers, and what's comparable throughout the region.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing like a cost per call or anything like that. I mean, I remember seeing the call volumes for us and around, but I don't remember seeing like cost per call or cost per.
I don't believe it was dissected out that far.
I kind of remember talking about that. It was,
but there were
officers,
average salaries.
Yeah.
Salary
Yeah.
comparison.
And we got closer to our surround, when we did the last contract, we did increase and get closer to the surrounding, just so we were competitive. But yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that you look at the bottom line of what it costs, we're looking at $4,485,144. That's $1 million more than what we're bringing in property tax.
That's your number one responsibility and your reason for existing.
I know.
So you don't exist to fix streets, you exist to give safety to people.
So Chief, can I ask a clarifying question here? About the lieutenant position here, you have 107,791 as, I'm assuming that's their, I'm assuming that's not the total price.
No, that is not. No, and in fact, oh shoot. I forgot to put the rest of the things in there for that. I forgot to add the lieutenant in with the rest of them, like the insurance and the all of that.
but that shouldn't change
The
so much.
FICA and
So what I was looking at is if you're promoting a sergeant to a lieutenant, and say the sergeant now is making 90,000 or whatever, wouldn't it just be a $27,000 increase?
no, because then you're going to promote someone to take over as sergeant, and then
Well, I would agree with that, and I follow that, except I go down to the section here where you're hiring 2 new officers. So the bottom was also bumped up price-wise. So I'm just trying to see where we're not really adding 107,000 new. We're adding the difference between the sergeant's wage and the lieutenant's wage.
Trying to get all that bump up.
The end result in hiring new officers should result in a savings.
Right.
Not bringing in
To bring the
younger
Right.
officers, lower pay scale, lower pay scale,
higher pay scale.
move it up, so dropping
Right.
down. There should be a difference between the two that resulted in a savings.
We will have 2 officers retire next year. And then we will have 3 officers who retire in 2026.
So my concern, is out of the, what, 17 officers I think you have? 19? You're gonna lose 5. 25%.
In the next 2 years.
Right.
6.
That's including the chief. Same walking the beat. Well, we're trying to cross the guard, by the way. My concern is, I don't care if we have the best of the best to move up and give these promotions to, a 25% decrease in your force when you can't hire people is concerning.
Right.
That's why we put it into.
I get that 100%.
When we talked last year, it was 21, wanted to get to.
Yeah, I totally understand that. But it seems like we've hired, what, 3 in the last 2 years, 4? And 3 of them were gone or didn't work out or whatever. I mean, it's not a good.
What's happening is back 25 years ago, Chief, there was a federal grant that came out. And all departments hired a lot of officers. Columbia Borough hired 5, Cops Grant hired 5. All departments around did the same thing. They're all maturing at this time. So every police department in Lancaster County is having the same problem that we're having. So if you have, I'll say, in our area, an applicant pool of 50 officers, but there is a need for 75, that's why we're not getting all the applicants that we normally got.
I don't disagree with you, but.
But it's coming back because these positions are being filled. But it got so bad to the point where other municipalities, and that was what spurred that thing with the civil service, they were coming into boroughs and recruiting officers from the boroughs because they could do that, we couldn't. Now that they're full, we have a larger pool. We're better, yeah, we're better with our applicants. Not great, but we're better.
That's one of my concerns. It's not getting better. And, the 19 that we have right now, as you said, last year we talked about 21. 19 is really not at full staff.
Yeah, 19 was one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll graduate December 15th.
So if you lose that, are you gonna have enough to run full shifts? Or partial shifts like you used to do now?
We'll have to execute.
Exactly.
It may be a matter of, older officers, task force.
A few years ago, with the services like DCD, we sat down to 5 police departments and went through a series of meetings. And it looked like we were going somewhere. And then all of a sudden, one pulled out, then another pulled out. And since that time, we have routine discussions with those departments. And what we basically hear is, either hell no, or we're so busy right now trying to staff what we have, we don't have time to talk about it. And maybe it's time. So we kind of have those, I'll say, one-on-one discussions, not formal, but we have those one-on-one discussions, trying to set up a formal discussion, we're not even getting to where we can set up a formal inspection.
So, back to my concern, you have officer safety, so you can't have just one officer on duty. I understand that. But my point is, at what point of shrinkage of the department does it implode on itself? Because if you're losing 25% in the next 2 to 3 years,
You're bringing the replacements on.
you're hoping you get replacements,
Yeah.
and you're hoping they work out. We haven't had a good track record. I mean, it's not anybody here's fault.
It's just. We
Um,
had officers leave on that situation that I told you, they went to other departments.
Right.
And that hopefully has slowed down.
I hope so too.
But, the officers we're hiring now seem to be dedicated to doing, I'll say, urban policing.
I've ridden with most of the new guys, and they are very much dedicated to the role, their job, and committed to the town. Their hearts and code. I think we need to continue to be mindful of them, take care of them, and appreciate them for what they're doing. But we do have a good group of young people in our ranks.
Just had preliminary discussions with another police department, I shouldn't say police department, municipality that is being serviced by another police department. Now, do you want to sit down and ask for this? We haven't got there, you haven't got the answer. So, yes, we're doing that, we constantly do. If I would like nothing better, I'll tell you right up front, I would like nothing better than for us to be part of an ordinary police department. I don't need to do it. I would like nothing better. And
So, would it be wise?
With West Epsom Township, other departments, other municipalities, tell you, we have got to start looking at a county.
Oh, exactly.
We have got to start looking at that. Same thing as Mike was talking about with servicing and doing things with the fire side. We got to start looking for water.
But
EMS especially.
But my question
It has
is,
to be a regional effort.
would it behoove us as council to put a formal committee together instead of an impromptu, hey, you want to talk about some time? Have a committee together and say, look, we seriously as a group are committed to sit down and have these discussions.
Yes. Because I think you need to hear.
Maybe we
I
do.
think both parties, both parties need to hear the concerns. Because, for example, we had trouble getting through to one municipality to start having formal discussions. We don't know what the feeling was, we have an idea what the feeling was of the full leadership of that municipality. But there was one member who just wouldn't open the door. But when you have formal discussions like that, where you seven or a committee of you seven and a committee of another, you may get somewhere.
Peter alluded to, we don't have a lot to offer. We have a high call volume. We're one of the few municipalities that exceeds its population call volume. We have a lot of challenges for these surrounding municipalities in the area.
But we're getting to the point to where the services of that department, the things that the department are getting good at, are starting to make us look attractive to all the municipalities. That was one thing, as the chief said, we want to take on problems, no problems. Well, things are getting a little more attractive now. just right off the top of my head, drones. We probably, we're probably number 2 in the county as far as drone operators.
We're one of the better operators.
Effort is probably the best. The first one, we're probably the best. You know, so we're creating those things that make us look.
Oh, and I see it. I mean, your crash team and everything else. Hey, it's there. It's, again, my.
Someone has to want to take it.
Right.
I understand that my concern is the 25% drop. I know what you're saying.
No, but your concern is our concern.
Right.
I mean, this is something we talk about almost every day.
Right.
Are we gonna have enough trained, experienced officers?
This conversation goes back to
Oh, yeah.
it predates many of us.
Right, oh, I know.
Yep, we've been warning about this, coming to fruition for a long, long time.
I have another question about, some of the numbers as I was looking through. We were told when we added a 4th sergeant that was going to put us in a better position to not have to pay so much in officer in charge rates. And we're already over budget at this point for officer in charge, to the point that I increased it for next year. So,
I'll tell you why that happened.
yeah, can you shed some light on that?
Absolutely. You have 2 officers that are in the drop or about to go to the drop. Who had a lot of energy, a lot of time, and they were taking a lot of the time. One officer, he accrued most of his leave over the last 10 years to take on stadium. So that's why those numbers are skewed because of that very fact.
Yeah, because I saw that and I was like, wait a minute. We were told that they were just going to go down. And so, okay, so I increased it. I increased that budget item for next year. Should I not increase that? Should I keep it at 20? Let it go at 20? Okay, then I'll change that back to 20. That's what I did. I've made it 25.
There's gonna be a bump.
Yeah.
Because of the drop.
All right, and then I left the line item we made for 2024, I kept it in here for National Night Out, so we have its own budget line for that. I kept that. I increased the officer equipment allowance slightly because with having new officers, we're gonna need that. I kept the animal control and shelter fees where it was.
Part of our problem, with that is I need to talk to the doctor. The animal hospital. We had an issue not getting invoices for 2023.
Oh my gosh.
Our first month or 2 of 24, we were actually paying gas invoices. So they had some sort of issue, with their accounts payable process. So I'm comfortable leaving that number basically where it's at. I wouldn't modify it.
Okay. Does Brett Greenberg offer the same services? Like, would we be able to make the deal with him like we have with Columbia Animal Hospital? No?
I don't think he's very good hour-wise.
I tried that
Oh.
a while ago. Of course, it's been several years, not saying he hasn't changed his mind, but.
I was just
I
wondering.
think at this point, we are very fortunate to have this relationship. And some agencies still struggle.
Okay.
So,
I was just wondering.
yeah, I actually talked to Dr. Parker. He realizes, I mean, this is in no ways profitable.
No, it's not.
They are truly doing a community service. And I honestly, after I had a conversation today, think that I need to recognize, and the borough needs to recognize in the state for what they do.
Yeah, because they're not even in Columbia Borough.
That was on a whim. I just went out and came in, visited, explained it, there was a need on our part. And so on.
They go out of their way to help us with the, trying to relocate.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue at the end. There are many that were able to reunite with their owners. So they take on the responsibility of adopting this also.
No.
Ever recoup the money that we pay to the veterans?
Not much.
The budget shows $400.
The money that we collect, that $50, that's not for dogs that have gone there.
That's correct.
That's just dogs that we've recovered
Yeah, that's-
and
that's
we're
good.
able to. Okay.
That's a dogs at large.
Okay.
Okay.
I've always had that question ever since I worked in the finance department. Do we recoup these funds anyway? And there's
And it's a big problem, but honestly, Lori, is the fact that we're not able to identify the people.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it through and I wondered how we would, but.
We deal with maybe 40 to 50 dogs.
Yeah.
Stray dogs. And it's very, very frustrating. Very frustrating. I just think sometimes this community is just a dumping ground. Maybe they know that we're there to make sure, take their place somewhere. I don't know.
You say one down to the river front, dropping the dog off.
Yeah.
We have one county that says
We improve it, yes, we do.
All those dogs in the still a cat problem.
How about that?
It's because we don't leave the dogs loose.
Yeah, you get fined.
No.
Not your cat.
Oh, one other item I increased across the board because I noticed that it seemed like anyway that there's an increase and I increased the cell phone and the phone bills. Not much, but enough to cover. So I did increase those because they are going up as well. I couldn't give an exact number because I didn't know the contracts, but I did know that they were going up.
we should, I was going to suggest that this may be something for you, Steve. You, Karen. We should look at that cell phone contract. It's getting to the point now where, gosh, I think my phone might be 8 or 10 years old. The batteries just aren't holding up anymore.
Oh, we can take care of that. That's.
Well, we had a contract with Verizon where we were basically trading phones every year.
We're still able to
What
do
happened to
that.
that?
You remember that, right?
I remember.
Yeah, we were
every year.
trading phones every year, and I think it's about 8 years now.
We're still able to do that.
Yeah, so
And what I'm getting at is, maybe looking at that, we might be able to cut a better deal.
I've not heard that we're currently in a contract.
Okay. I thought we had that contract.
They're certainly not easy to work with.
Absolutely.
I had a lot of trouble with AT&T.
another item, and this is, I have asked for clarification because I didn't have the numbers. So that this is probably gonna change, but we need to verify the lease costs for Public Works and for the police. And Jack, here's another question for you. You requested an increase in the maintenance and repair of the police vehicles, but I thought the whole point of the enterprise was to lower our repair costs. So what's happening there?
since we entered into the arrangement with enterprise, this has become an operating budget and
A capital,
capital budget.
right.
So everything was in there. So there was one car that we purchased, and the equipment was added into the lease, so that got into that line item.
Oh, the maintenance and repair line item.
That's correct.
Okay.
That was most critical. Also, we still have to replace tires. You know, and this year's been bad, that run on tires. Something called that 3-year mark.
Yep.
And, that cost the
Okay, so that's where the upfitting is going. When we get to,
most of the upfitting is supposed to be rolled into the lease.
the lease, but sometimes it doesn't. So when it doesn't, it's going in there.
There were a couple of anomalies.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I was like, something's weird.
And also that dollar amount was reduced from 10,000 down to 4.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I hit a bunch of lines when I was.
That was reduced from 10,000 to
Okay. While we're in here, sounds like the appropriate time to have this conversation too. I'm full of these hard questions tonight. So I happened to run into Mr. Wolpert in the parking lot yesterday. Mr. Wolpert services our parking meters. We pay him $200 a month. Mr. Wolpert will not be doing it after January. He told me, he said he gave you the notice. So we do not have someone to service the parking meters. Additionally, we know there's issues with the parking meters because they can't get parts for them. So Mr. Wolpert's been cobbling things together to keep them working, and we're quickly getting to the point where we do not have parts. We cannot keep these meters going. Is it time to talk to Park Mobile about getting kiosks and pulling out the meters?
Yeah.
So we got to do that traffic safety. Traffic safety. Steve's on it, Mayor, Todd, myself, and Jim. So we met this week, and I did bring this up as a topic of discussion.
Yep.
So we do have concerns about the meters because of the issues we're having with getting parts. One of the things we actually talked about is maybe buying ourselves a little time when it makes sense to reduce the number of meters we have. Like say, in alternating parking spaces, remove the meters themselves. And we can use those. You can't.
But you have to have more money for the car.
Yeah, but when park mobile in those other spaces.
Oh.
So they can use, right? So.
Oh, I think that's looking for trouble though.
Yeah.
That's asking, I mean, because then people aren't gonna see a meter there and they're gonna assume they don't have to pay.
We started brainstorming.
Yeah.
That's one thing. The other thing is, for example, the municipal out here, remove the meters and go total park.
Right.
You know, any goes like that. Go to Park Mobile and then look into Locust Street lot. There are people routinely parking in there. Go to Park Mobile.
Yep.
Park Mobile in there. And then that will free up some equipment. And other ways.
The Locust Street lot, what?
That was-
Oh, front and Locust, do we have meters down there?
We don't have nothing down there.
We're talking about actually putting the signs.
Oh, putting the signage there. Oh.
So, but the question of the.
Now, but-
Probably the final option that we discussed was to put a Band-Aid off and go to all park.
Right.
You know, I think we did discuss kiosks.
Has been 2 years now, correct?
Yeah,
It's been over.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, it's not like we just yanked the Band-Aid off.
No.
2 years of getting used to Park Mobile, downloading it.
But I still think you need a way to you need to give people the option to pay to put a quarter in or to put money in.
Maybe we work with the Merchants Association and give them some kind of code or something. Where if somebody comes in and doesn't have the app or whatever, maybe they can.
Wait, to address your initial concern about also, so we talked about this, I talked to Mr. Porter about this. I'm thinking my own staff is more than competent enough to take care of the meter issues. And my recommendation would be, instead of actually going outside and contracting with someone, just let us handle it.
Oh, I'm all for that if you guys can. I mean, from what he said, the majority of the time it's just putting new batteries in, and I mean, if you can change a smoke detector battery, you can change a battery in a.
I mean, we may have to lean on Jake's guys.
Yeah.
Meter that off or something. You know, we can work well together.
But the bottom line is, we're gonna have more discussion. We need to start weeding people.
We do.
Yeah, for the elderly people who don't have cell phones. If we did carte blanche, you couldn't get enough people in that lobby.
Nope, I know. Oh, I know it would. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm in favor of kiosks, because that kind of is like the midway between
But
nothing and.
I look at other towns, like Gettysburg.
Each side of the street.
They have strictly Park Mobile. Bethany Beach, strictly Park Mobile.
That's
Place you should go.
but they're a tourist city. They're not,
Lancaster City is not, well, they have kiosks.
they have kiosks.
Well, yeah, you have to have kiosks. I don't disagree with the kiosks. I'm just saying, get rid of the quarter machine.
I think it's been too many years since we explored the cost of kiosks. And they may have become more popular and may have gone down in price or whatever, but I think we should look into the cost of kiosks.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yes. It's much easier to maintain a few kiosks throughout town.
Especially because they're all digital.
Right.
Yes, there is. And I think that we talked about wanting to put that in there. So I do think, speaking of the RACP, the budget's been approved and they're slowly starting to get money out. So we should be getting our reimbursement for the RACP soon. At least that's what I'm told. That's what I'm told. That's what they said this weekend at the PSAB conference. They said they're starting to slowly get money out. So
Historic. In 2070, they'll look historic. We don't have to have them in the historic district.
Well, yeah, you do.
Yeah, I guess you do.
No, we're not in that anymore.
Oh, we're not.
No. So, all right, well, good. I think that was my tough questions.
All right, it's 9:30.
Yeah, so, all right. Anything,
Yeah, I want to pull the Band-Aid off, since that seems to be the term tonight.
okay,
I think the mayor should get a raise, as well as council people. I said it, I was gonna say it last year and I didn't. I said it this year.
I'm saying this involving all of you. Cost of kiosks. You know, it's just guys. So, you lose money with the people.
Not only that,
You paid
But-
$5.24 an hour.
we want to attract people to be more interested in politics. And I'm not saying buy your way, but for $85 a month after taxes, that's a lot of commitment you're giving up. If you give 100% to the position, but that's a lot of commitment you're giving up for that.
I spent more than this.
Same.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, I know there's some municipalities that almost go up to the $600 range. But I'm not asking for that.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. But, I mean, an extra $85 probably wouldn't hurt. $100.
Now, I will say this though.
That,
If we do it this year, it would not be effective until,
It won't affect this year's budget.
it won't affect this year's budget. We put it in there like that, but but it would not truly come out to that.
it won't affect us all anyway, because anybody that, you have to go through election
Right.
to get it.
Into effect until that person.
So-
So, like-
elected or new-
So, but if we're going to vote it, if we're gonna put it in, we need to do it this year because the election is next year.
So I say, yeah, I say we put it in. And we just saved what, 75,000? You said you took off for something else. Well, you start out tonight by telling me the budget was equal.
It was.
All right, so we have
Well,
75,000 somewhere.
But, okay, so I just want just a little perspective here. As it is, I took that 75,000 out, and blah, 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 and I've been making changes as we went down through here.
Yes.
At this point, we are still budgeting to take 1.3 million out of the fund balance. So we're transferring from fund balance.
Right.
I had a question on that
And ARPA.
after you.
Let me ask you this.
Well, I can't count on ARPA because I've been taking it all this year.
Let me ask you this. We'll do the exact same thing. Looking at the budget, where do you anticipate us being this year? In other words, are we going to be within 75% of the budget?
We are,
60% of the budget or whatever? In other words, if you're planning on, I'm just throwing numbers out. If you're planning on using $500,000, for example, out of budget reserve for the 24 budget, but it comes into our rate,
well, it was planned that we were gonna use 1.1 from reserves. And that's including taking 300 from ARPA. Eyeballing just from the reports up to this point, it's not going to be 1.1 from reserves, but there is going to be money from reserves.
Yeah, there'll be money from reserve. My guess is somewhere between 5 and 7.
I'm thinking closer to 8, which is disheartening because we did so well for 3 years. We were putting money back into the reserves.
Well,
I
think you're at the point where my next question, when are we going to get rid of the 2 elephants? Company number 1 fire company and the wastewater people.
Hold on.
Hey, we're pulling the Band-Aids off tonight, Eric. So, okay,
They're not
so
elephants.
They're pressing on my back.
it is the monkey on the back here. So I actually, I texted Evan, or actually I emailed him because as I was doing this, I needed to know the lease amounts for the firehouse. As you know, that lease was up in January. We still don't have a new lease. And Evan said that we don't have a lease yet. We're working on scheduling a meeting with the business manager for KT Graham so we can iron it out and come to some type of agreement. Now, are you ready for this? My hope would be that before the end of budget year 2025, we can get it sold or one way or another and get rid of the lease. I do not, I'm not happy, just so everyone knows. I am not happy.
So here, I come in here tonight with this in my mind. You don't have a lease with them right now, so
No.
apparently they're paying the old lease.
Yeah.
They are, and we are losing
I
money
think we should give
every
them a note
month.
and say, you got 30, 60, or 90 days, whichever you decide, to purchase this piece of property, we're gonna hang a shingle out and
Yes,
sell it.
I would love for council to just pull Evan off of this. Let me, I mean, I can get a lot more done than he has in all this time.
I mean,
Hold on a second.
well,
I just don't want him to be.
So hold on a second, we're in a predicament. We handed this property over, didn't we?
not yet,
No,
no.
we didn't.
We have the agreement with the Columbia EDC. However, that agreement is beyond past time. So in my mind, we've not renewed that agreement. It's null and void at this point.
So why do we have to, it's council wishes to sell it as soon as possible.
Right.
If you want to take lead on that, take lead on that.
To my concern on that, it was not taking the lead. It was having a solicitor out there doing his own negotiations. at the
Well, he's
same
not
time
doing
I'm trying to
negotiations.
do it.
There's no negotiations.
You know, I'm in the same boat as the mayor. I'm like, you know, we're gonna put a shingle out, or we're gonna make this thing for sale. They have the choice. We're gonna allow them to buy it. We're gonna purchase it for what we get the appraised value of, or we're going to sell it.
We're encumbering our residents for
We
something that
are.
we're playing around with.
Right.
That's not-
Well, and there's one word in the text that just makes me nervous, so I don't want to commit to anything until we can talk the whole story. It starts with an L. Litigation. And I don't want to end up saying something that's going to damage our position.
All right.
So, but that's on my list to talk to Evan next week, because I'm not
I
happy.
think that's a good idea, Sam.
Yep.
On a dual track. And then what about the one across the street?
That's being held up by Norfolk Southern.
So, go ahead.
That's a little bit different in there. It is being held up by Norfolk Southern, but there's three different things that are potentially going to be held up by Norfolk Southern. You know, we have the new bridge that's going to be coming in to where they're going to need to get in. There needs to be a lot of eyes put on this and a lot of pressure put on it. I was just talking to Senator Altman about it yesterday, about helping us put some pressure on Norfolk Southern to.
When we got into talk with Norfolk Southern for the trail, okay? At that time, Congressman Pitts, this is Norfolk Southern, you guys start talking to Congressman Pitts had some inroads with some folks from Norfolk Southern. He brokered the deal for us with Norfolk Southern. So maybe we need to look at our favorite people to start brokering.
Well, that's who runs it.
Yes, sir. And
Especially with the John Smith Trail open road, that's a fair.
we need to.
You're a little above my circle of politicians.
Well, I-
You might,
Yeah.
You might want to step in on that. Yeah.
I can introduce you.
We gotta wait till after November, because he's probably too busy
Yeah,
right now.
Yeah, we can't do nothing right now.
But, yeah, so. All right,
So can we end on a good note here?
Hopefully.
I'd like to.
well, hold on, let me look where we're at, because
No comments.
are we gonna wait on the contribution stuff till next time then?
Yes.
Okay,
I think you ought to say, what was, I forget the number, total number.
last year, what we did was we had a total number of 30,000, and we distributed it out among the,
That's okay. I don't care who. I'm saying if this year is 30,000,
Mhm.
then we ought to use that number as a basis and then determine if we want to give 30,000 out to each individual group or not. Not 30 total, what I'm saying.
Right.
Just say 30 is our number max.
Right.
As Pete said, I want to know where we stand in the budget before I start giving money out.
Right. So that's where we stand. What was it? 1.3 from the reserves.
Yeah.
Could we,
That's what he said.
the next budget meeting, have 2024 actuals put in a column?
Yes.
There's some overtime.
Yeah, I don't get paid for overtime, Eric.
I know.
Yes. The next look is going to be at the November workshop on the 7th.
Got town.
Thank you, sunshine. So, all right, well then, we'll stop for now and, pick it back up at the next one, okay?
Wonderful idea.
And I'm also gonna have the capital budget, hopefully all the minor funds then as well. If there is anything that anyone wanted to see in the budget, or if anyone sees anything odd, please let me know as I continue to work on it. Borough Council comments, Councilperson Brigard, Councilperson Fisher,
Nothing.
Councilperson Gordon.
Nothing to me.
Are you sure?
No, but it's past my bedtime.
Councilperson Murphy, Councilperson Stahl.
No, thank you.
No, I have nothing either. We will be at the next meeting at 7 PM on October 22nd. Council will hold a regularly scheduled meeting. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl to adjourn at 9:32 PM. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? We're adjourned.
Having a 5 to 15 minute